I hope you all had a great summer and you are excited to be back on campus. Um, we had it both last week, and it was very great to see the student coming back to school and seeing the traffic. I think we all needed that moment of big, big welcome back in person. So again, we're gonna begin shortly. I will allow people to join us. I will give it a few minutes before we begin. Let us know in the chat, what program are you taking? What faculty are you from? If you are from University of Manitoba or another university, let us know. We would love to get to know you a little bit better. And you can also tell us how you heard about the webinar. We are trying to make sure that the word gets out there. So yeah, use the chat to introduce yourself. Don't be shy to do that. We will give it again another minute or so. And we will begin in, 11:30, 33. It sounds like a good time to begin. So. Again, thank you for being here. Thank you for joining us today. Yeah, I can see a few of the names. I'm a little bit familiar with a few of the names. I'm probably sure we've met. You probably booked a session with me, so I really appreciate you showing up again. Perfect. So we are going to begin with a quick Zoom etiquette. The video is optional. You don't have to keep your camera on. I can see that everybody's already muted. Please use the chat. Send the questions. Keep the question at the end. Oh, sorry. Keep putting your question in the Q&A. And I will answer the questions at the end of the webinar. We just want to make sure that everyone stay focused. We want to make sure there's no distraction. So please leave your question in the chat throughout the webinar and they'll be answered at the end. And this webinar is also recorded and it will be uploaded on the Steel Clark Center website for you to always go back and refer, use it as a resource in your journey. If you're not following us, please, this is the moment to pull your cell phone and give us a follow. You can find us on LinkedIn, Instagram, and Twitter under Steel Clark Center. So this is where you're gonna know what's happening with the center. So give us a follow and stay up to date with what we have for you. Now I'm just gonna play a quick video introducing the center.
Let's talk about entrepreneurship. It's the light bulb moment when your first big idea. It's the decision to set out on a new path. It's the realization that entrepreneurship starts with the spark, and that spark starts here. We're here to nurture your idea and help spark your entrepreneurship. How about competitive opportunity? Rights for venture. Network events by focusing on education, awareness, strong relationships, and do everything we can to help them on their journey to self-start. Center is a one-stop shop for everything. why not start today?
Why not start today? So like the video mentioned, the Stu Clark Center is here on campus on Drake. And if you have any question that pertains to entrepreneurship, we are here to support you. We are here to guide you and answer all the questions you may have. Again, my name is Karin Bado. I am the venture coach here at the center. I have myself a bachelor in business and administration, and I've been working over the past few years with women entrepreneurs, non-for-profit managers and upper managers, and really providing guidance with financial strategy. I have a major in accounting. So you may wonder how come I'm now working as a venture coach. And this is a good point to encourage you that there's no specific path that you should be on to become an entrepreneur. You can start with an idea, like you just watched the video saying everyone can become an entrepreneur. So I am a free resource here for you. You can book a meeting if you have any questions, and we can discuss your business ideas. I'm also an entrepreneur myself. I co-found a business with my sisters, and I'm also working on a special project that will soon launch, hopefully. But yeah, I have that experience. I understand where you are, so don't hesitate to book a meeting with me. And secondly, I'm not alone. We have a team of experts here at the Stu Clark Center. We are all here for you. We have our director, Deborah Jonathan-Young, Lindsay Friesen, our marketing coordinator, Amy Jones, our program coordinator, and lastly, Roxanne Scarf as the office administrator. Again, we are here opening in person. You can come in, say hi. We would love to see you. If you are on campus, just don't be shy to come and say hi to us or ask any questions, and we would love to interact with you. And I'm gonna give you just a few tips on how to book a meeting with me. I'm very happy to now be able to offer in-person meetings. So you have that option. It's very, very easy. Like you can see on the slide, you go on the website, you create a profile on our Startup Tree platform, and you will be able to book a meeting with me, select the date, the time that works for you. You can even now select in person or virtual, and you will be getting a confirmation email with the link to join online or with the address to just come in person and meet me here in the office. So again, don't be shy. This is a service that we have free of charge for every student across faculty. And I would love to get to know you and chat about your entrepreneurial ideas. So the second thing that I'm very excited about is the webinars that we have lined up for the rest of the year. We've made sure to address topics that are very interesting and that can provide you enough resources to navigate entrepreneurship, to navigate startup land. So feel free to go in there. The links are already working. You can go and RSVP, save it in your calendar, share it with a friend. Make sure you bring someone along to learn about how to become a better entrepreneur, or how to even validate an idea, how to come with a business idea. I've noticed that a few of the students that come here at the center to meet me sometimes struggle with some of these entrepreneurial notions, like how to find the perfect customer, how can I conduct a strong marketing strategy to bring that customer in store. So we've worked hard to put together this lineup. We have guests coming, industry expert coming and sharing what they have in terms of knowledge, but also different programs with our ecosystem partners that we will also like to promote on here. So go now, RSVP, save the date in your calendar, share it on your social media, make sure someone hear about it. Maybe you have some friends or you know people who can benefit from attending the webinar. So please go ahead and register. The next one that we have will happen on September 28th, And it's about helping you foster that entrepreneurial mindset. As I've mentioned, I have graduated with a major in accounting. I did not take any entrepreneurship classes, but yet I am diving into entrepreneurship, and it's one of my biggest career shift, and I'm very fulfilled by that. But it's very important to understand how to think like an entrepreneur to be successful. And these are the type of information that we will be talking about during our webinars, provide you insight and tips to start fostering and nurturing that mindset that will help you, reach success. And even if you don't end up as an entrepreneur, you can still have a very strong mindset that will advance your career and really help you reach your professional goals as well. So make sure you sign up for this one. Make sure you tell a friend. And yeah, I would love to see you there for the next time. So now let's talk about the main topic of the day. You want to be your own boss. I'm assuming this will probably be a yes. But I'm just going to take a quick poll here just to see where you are in your journey. Maybe you're not quite sure if you want to be your own boss, AKA want to be an entrepreneur. But maybe you are already an entrepreneur and you're running a business, or you know someone who's running a business and maybe they talk to you and you want to join that business, but you're not sure if it will be a good fit for you. But I'm just gonna take a quick poll here just to see what type of audience I have in front of me. Okay, I will give you a few seconds to put in your answer. If you want to be your own boss, if you want to become an entrepreneur, maybe you don't want that, or you want to know if that can even be a possibility. There's no right or wrong answers with all the polls. Like, I'm really trying to get to know you better so I can better serve you with the information that will be applicable in your life as a person, as a student, or someone interested in entrepreneurship. So perfect. I have 75% of people saying that they be their own bosses. Like, this is great. This is perfect. I think I probably want to be my own boss. It sounds like a very fairy tale-ish possibility that anyone would love to tap into. And maybe I agree as well. Like, again, there's no wrong or right answer as long as you are open and honest with yourself. That's all I need so I can better serve you with the content that I'm creating. Perfect. So we've done with the poll. And before we can even continue on, this is the agenda that I have prepared for you. We need to know what's an entrepreneur before even thinking about becoming one. So we're going to dive into some definitions and context of entrepreneurship. The second point is the pros and the cons of having an entrepreneurial career. There's always a pro and a con to every choice that we have to make in life. So it's the same reality for entrepreneurs. And the third point is very, very important, because I believe that learning from other people's mistakes can help you not repeat the same mistakes and really push you further in your journey to success. So we are going to learn about the most common mistakes that entrepreneurs make and a few myths about entrepreneurship that are not true. And finally, I will leave you with a few points that you can, grab and keep reflecting on today's webinars. We already have our pool here. So again, another great question that you need to think about throughout your journey, and even with everything that we have lined up, it will often come that, would you consider entrepreneurship as a career? This is what we try to promote here at the center. Our mandate is to spark an entrepreneurial spirit in all the students across faculty here at the University of Manitoba. So it's a pertinent question to keep asking yourself. Am I considering entrepreneurship as a career? Is it something that I think I can do? And again, there's no wrong or right answer. Just a few reflection to have to guide you in your journey. So the main point that everyone need to question, everyone need to think about is, what is entrepreneurship? And I like that word so much because I speak French. French is my first language, and entrepreneurship comes from entreprendre, entrepreneur, which is a French verb, really calling to action, right? So it's important to understand that entrepreneurship uh, is defined by different things, but the main point that pertains to that definition is really trying to set up a business, an activity, a lucrative activity that you will be able to benefit from the fruit, but also take on the risk if ever you were to face the risk of driving that activity. So it's a very broad definition of entrepreneurship. Maybe you're still wondering, what does this even mean? So it's very important to understand the entrepreneur, right? Because entrepreneurship really, again, comes from that French word entreprendre, which highlight the characteristic of the entrepreneur. To help you understand what entrepreneurship is, most entrepreneurs are driven by change and innovation. And we can all agree that we live in times where entrepreneurship is really becoming a lifestyle. You probably know one or two people running a business, maybe as a side hustle, or planning to maybe make it a full-time job and becoming a full-time entrepreneur. So it's definitely a concept that is trending in the business world. Now, everywhere you go, you probably know an entrepreneur, and you may wonder, what is it that they really do to call themselves entrepreneur? Well, they probably run a business, and they are probably driven by change and innovation. So some entrepreneur will think about new ways to better product or services that currently exist. So you will see a new type of similar product coming on the market, but with better value or with better functionalities. That can be another way to tackle entrepreneurship. You will see people coming up with brand new product. Like, I remember before Instagram or Facebook, we didn't have social media. Or maybe we had some type of very old school social media, but with entrepreneurship, someone was able to come up with these great ideas and really bring people together, and they kept adding features, new ideas, new product. And this is really what entrepreneurship is. It's driving a business, but with the mindset of bringing change and innovation forward to service people, to service your customer, your community, the world in some cases. And you may wonder, okay, what type of business size we're talking about? Because entrepreneurship is such a broad word that it can be difficult to really grasp what someone really means by calling themselves entrepreneurs, right? So you can have a small business and still call yourself an entrepreneur. Remember, there's still that business activity, financial activity that people decide to pursue, to do, to fulfill their dreams, or benefit from the financial fruit of having that activity. So even if you are a small business owner, you are a solo business owner, you work on your own, you are a consultant, you can still consider yourself an entrepreneur. The second point is scalable startup. So you will often hear now startups, like people are often calling themselves founders, and it comes with the fact that they're creating a business that has the potential to quickly grow. So instead of spending 10 years working with 2 employees, a startup will probably become global within the first 5 years. So usually those type of entrepreneurial businesses are driven by technology and innovation. So you probably see someone coming up with a prototype or a product that is easily scalable and can impact and can have a broader market, meaning that they can sell locally, but they can also sell internationally, and it's a very complex business structure to have. It does imply a little bit of complexity. This is why you have to stick with us. You have to come to the webinars and keep learning about different ways for you to grow as an entrepreneur. And then you have large companies, like we've mentioned, sometime when you start growing, and they come into a very stable growth, they can now transition as a large company, meaning that they reach the maximal growth that they can have in terms of product and production. So now it's a little bit more stable. They step into the scale of becoming a large company, maybe an international company operating nationally and overseas. And then we have social entrepreneurship. It's not always about the money, even though the money is a good motivation to have. Again, there's no right or wrong motivation. It's really about knowing your values and really knowing why entrepreneurship can be the right choice for you. And if you feel that you are someone driven by social change, you care about the environment, you care about sustainability, you care about community, there's still a way for you to fulfill that mandate, fulfill that passion, but still run it as a business, run it as an entrepreneurial business. So those are the 3-4 types of entrepreneurship businesses that you will see. So I hope this is giving you more clarity. If you were not considering yourself as an entrepreneur, now you can, because maybe you just want to have an e-commerce and sell your product at the local farmer's market. You're still an entrepreneur, and maybe you have that grandiose idea and you want to put together an app or develop a prototype, and you see that being something that can change the world, can revolution the business world, then you probably will see yourself more as a startup, and so on. Perfect. So now that we went through the different definitions of entrepreneurship and what can entrepreneurship looks like, I'm wondering what makes an entrepreneur. Because remember, the entrepreneur is really the person that is carrying the business, and it's very important to understand what makes an entrepreneur. Am I entrepreneur material? So again, I'm gonna take a quick poll here, and share that with you. Just a moment. So you are going to let me know what makes an entrepreneur. Do you think that entrepreneurs are born entrepreneur? Do you think that you can be a self-made entrepreneur? Do you think it's just all about the mindset? Like, as long as you have a strong entrepreneurial mindset, you can probably be an entrepreneur. So I'm just gonna leave the poll here for a few more seconds, and I'm gonna share that. Just a few more seconds to get your answer in. Okay, perfect. I'm gonna end the poll. So entrepreneurship is definitely about the mindset. And I think 88% got it right, but you can become an entrepreneur. You can be a self-made entrepreneur. It's another way to see things. Even if you don't know any entrepreneur, or you're not coming from an entrepreneurial background, you can build yourself up to becoming successful. And again, there's no right or wrong answer. It's just possibilities for you to tap into entrepreneurship. Perfect. So we're gonna see quickly here what really makes an entrepreneur. Oops, I feel that I went a little bit backward with my slides here, so I'm gonna try to catch up. technology. I hope one of these days we will be able to do our webinars in person so that I don't have to stress about technology. Okay, perfect. So that's the perfect slide. So we are going to, there's many characteristics that makes an entrepreneur, right? And we talked a little bit about the mindset, but I'm going to focus on three main characteristics that many successful entrepreneurs do have. First of all, it's about having a vision, right? Most entrepreneurs will come up with ideas that are non-existent. And you have to be someone who is very visionary. Like, where do you see the world be in 5 years from now, 10 years from now? And what type of services, what type of product you think will be there in that futuristic world? So you have to be a visionary to be able to create something new, to be able to innovate. So that's a very important characteristic to have if entrepreneurship is important for you, or you feel like, okay, I want to become an entrepreneur. Then you have to be someone who is a visionary. And some entrepreneurs even looked crazy with their ideas in the beginning. People will not believe that these type of ideas could even be made possible, right? But they were able to believe in that because they had a very strong vision. The second point, characteristic of an entrepreneur, is that entrepreneurs are risk takers. So now I want to caution you on that. It doesn't mean that you have to quit everything, sell everything, empty your bank account to become an entrepreneur. That's not what it is. It simply means that at the early stage, when you start selling your product or when you work on your startup, everything will relay on your shoulders because you are primarily carrying the business on your own. So it is a little bit of a risk, if not more, as an individual, to make sure that everything goes well, to make sure that you are selling, to make sure that you are not, building a deficit, that you're making profit, and all of these important factors are still considering as a risk, rather than working for a company where there's a little bit of stability in terms of income. If you make your hours, you're getting a paycheck, versus you have to go out there and sell your product and your service to be able to make a profit. So that's when we think about risk a different way. And again, lastly, entrepreneurs have a very great work ethic. It is hard. Sometimes entrepreneur will start on the side. They will have many jobs plus their entrepreneurial businesses. And you really need to be someone who has a great work ethic to be able to carry on, such a change in your life. Let's say you were working 9 to 5. Now, after your work, you have to work another 6 to midnight. You have to be someone who's willing to work extra hard if entrepreneurship is something that is for you. And even if you are a full-time entrepreneur, again, at the beginning of the stage of your business, you're doing everything. You are working on a business plan. You are connecting with the community, networking, and you are still developing your product. And all of these things, it's a lot of work. So you have to be someone who is dedicating to work, who's a visionary, who's a risk taker, if you think that you can carry that title of entrepreneur, right? So I really wanted to make sure that we understand the main characteristic. And again, those are the three main. The list can go on and on when it comes to identifying what makes an entrepreneur. So maybe you have a few of these characteristics and you don't have some of them, but do not panic. You can always grow. You can always manage that mindset that we'll dive into on the next webinar to be able to be a successful entrepreneur. Pros and cons of entrepreneurship. Like any choices we make in life, anything always comes with advantages and disadvantages. So it is the same for entrepreneurship. It looks like the whole glam when we see them talking about their business, their startup, but it comes with some hustle, and mostly people become business owners, hustlers. It comes from the fact that just some cons and some pros to that lifestyle and to that type of career. So I'm going to start with the benefit of having an entrepreneurial career. It's clear, it's evident, you don't have to second guess that. The freedom to pursue your passion. If you are a very passionate person, and you will even see that in social entrepreneurship, most of entrepreneurs are very passionate about the causes they are fighting for. So if you see yourself as a passionate person, you really want to make an impact in the world, in your community, in your social circle, you are now able to do that through entrepreneurship. Flexibility and financial freedom. If you see yourself as a successful entrepreneur, let's say 2 years from now, you will be able to benefit financially from that career, from your hard work. Giving back to the community, again, because you have that possibility of making profit through a business activity. You can always support your community. You can always bring the change and do that through entrepreneurship. Providing employment to others. Yes, at the beginning, it may be you, but soon enough, you'll be able to hire people to help you run the business. And that is usually the goal of an entrepreneur. Is they're starting off the business, but as soon as they are able to hire people to grow, to keep working on the strategic part of the business and leave the operational to staff, that is another way of supporting and providing employment to people through entrepreneurship. Another point, opportunity to make your own decision. I think with the title of this webinar is Be Your Own Boss. I think that's really the point of working for yourself, is to be able to make your own decision, set up your calendar the way that suits you and that suits the business, having that flexibility, that personal life balance as well. And yeah, all of these points are very, very important. And it is true, entrepreneurs can testify that these are the benefits of running their own business, of becoming their own boss. It's just there's so much reward when you are able to fulfill your passion and live off your passion and impact people. On the other side, other things that you need to get out of your system is that entrepreneurs have easy hours. Like, it's not an easy career path. Like we've mentioned, every time you step out of your comfort zone, it can come with some challenges, and entrepreneurs do not have easy hours. We already talked about having a great work ethic, and this is one of the reasons why, because entrepreneurs work a lot. In the beginning, no one believes in your ideas most of the time, or maybe your ideas will require a lot of work hours to even be able to set up a plan, to connect with people, to read about industry report data, to get a permit, to get a license to be in business. So those are all the different things that you'll have to think about, and entrepreneurs don't have it an easy way, for sure. Entrepreneurship is not an all or nothing game. Back in the day, it used to be very scary when someone would say, I'm an entrepreneur or I'm pursuing entrepreneurship, because there was an assumption about being prone to risk, like giving up everything and becoming an entrepreneur, quitting jobs and becoming an entrepreneur. But nowadays, it's not necessarily the case. So with proper planning, you can still keep your regular job or carry on with your routine and still tap into entrepreneurship and plan for growth. Or some entrepreneurs would just be okay carrying a business on a part-time scale and not think about growing and make a big business. Some people are okay with the market. Some people, and you often see business owners at local market, local makers, they're comfortable with selling the product to the local customers and not thinking about making a big business or being on Amazon or becoming an e-commerce. They're really content with the size of their activities. So entrepreneurship is also that. It doesn't mean that you have to leave everything and take on 100% big risk and figure out. You can still plan and figure out along the way. The other third myth that's not true is that success happens fast. As a venture coach, I am so excited every time someone comes up with an idea and they can see a future with that idea. But I think I'm always trying to remind them of the timeline, because it is important to understand that yes, you have an idea, yes, you are fixing a problem, but in terms of execution, what will that look like in your schedule? If you're still working on a research, how many years do you have to complete that research before even coming in front of investor and say, I have this brand new product, can you invest in my business? So success does not happen fast. If you are confident in your product, if you are confident in your service, you can still write a business plan, write it in Canva, work on that aspect of things and still plan for execution, because it takes time. And even the first year, and I have a financial background in accounting, most cash flow projections for the first 2 years are always negative, right? So you're not expecting the first year profit. Most of the time it doesn't happen like that. You almost have to work your way up to making profit to be able to enjoy the profit and repay the investors and repay the debt and pay your staff. So there's a concept here that is clear, that success, financial success in that case, I'm gonna be specific with the financial aspect of things here when I talk about success. It doesn't happen overnight. And again, those are the cons about entrepreneurship. Financial losses. It's gonna happen. Sometimes entrepreneurs worked on different ideas and none of them take off. None of them take off. It doesn't mean that it's not a good idea. Sometimes it is a good idea. Sometimes you've done all your research, but no one was able to invest into the business, or you were not able to self-fund the business and you had to give up. Some ideas maybe were not that great or needed work. So at the end of the day, financial losses happen. Some people were in business and had to close doors. And we're gonna get right into the second point. It's just, as an entrepreneur, your business is very sensitive to uncontrollable factors. And we've been through the pandemic. Now this is clear that sometimes life happens. Sometimes there's a new regulation that's gonna come against what you have in place in terms of process or service, and you have to pivot, and maybe sometimes you can pivot and you have to close doors, you have to lay staff. So unfortunately, those are uncontrollable factors, because there's so much you can plan as an entrepreneur, but there's also other unplanned situations that can happen. And usually those will be regulations, law, or unforeseen situations like health matters, like the pandemic and stuff like that. Or sometimes an industry is just not growing as it's supposed to. Maybe you have industries or sectors really booming because of a specific economic advantage, and then a few years after, some sectors are no longer booming. There's complication to enter the market, there's complication to sell, and some businesses will be able to completely pivot and change activities, and some businesses will unfortunately close doors. We talked about the freedom of having your own schedule and being able to schedule your vacation, but there's also a work balance. And some studies have showcased that entrepreneurs face a lot of mental health issues because it is intense, especially at the early stage of the business, when you don't have staff yet, when you have to do pitch competitions to win the cash flow to be able to work on your prototype or develop a platform or develop an app. So these effort, that work ethic that you had in the first place can quickly become an overwhelming uh, asset, in the sense that yes, you work a lot, but you don't have enough time to take care of yourself, or to go on vacation, or to rest. Entrepreneurs constantly think about their businesses. This is unfortunately the reality. Until you can hire staff, until you can grow and get out of that early stage stress, you will have to deal with that work-life balance challenge. And no stable income in the early stage. We've already talked about this. At the beginning of the business, it's only you. Um, Even if you have some support from family and people donating, most of the time, the cash flow for the first 2 years will be negative, because you undertake so many expenses to be able to launch your business. Those are expenses that are inevitable to be able to be in business. So at the early stage, you will have to navigate your cash flow. You have to navigate your profit and loss, and really get to a place where you are now breaking even, and be able to have that income of your dream in the right time. So this is a breaking news for entrepreneurs. 75% of startups fail. And again, this is a study that was made by the Harvard Business. And it's important to understand that entrepreneurship is really about that mindset. Failure is inevitable. You can try your best. Most entrepreneurs will tell you it doesn't necessarily happen the first time. And failure is actually seen as a way to be resilient, as a way to take criticism and work through, and really question your product, question what you are trying to achieve with your business. So I don't want you to think about failure as the end of the road, but at the think about it as the beginning of the road. Yes, it didn't work out the first time, it didn't work out with the first idea, but I'm still gonna keep fostering that entrepreneurial mindset, entrepreneurial spirit, and think about another way to come up stronger. And because there's such a high percentage of failure, you may be wondering what is the reason why are entrepreneurs failing? And there's many reasons why entrepreneurs fail. Sometimes they run out of cash flow. Sometimes they don't have a strong marketing strategy. But I was able to find out the main reason, that were recurring reason why entrepreneurs fail, like common mistake that they've made in the beginning, of they didn't know about, and they just dive right into entrepreneurship, and unfortunately they learned the hard way. So the 5 most common mistake why entrepreneurs fail is because they assume that they can do it all on their own. It is true. As an entrepreneur, your time is so precious that sometimes you may think that it will not be a benefit for you to go out and ask for help or ask for feedback. You think you can do it on your own. You are an expert in your field. You can do it. But this is a reason. This is a mistake here that people are making, and it's costly. So here at the 2 O'Clock Center, you have access to free resources, to like a venture coach. We have business competitions, and we are here. We can take you in person. We can support you online, whatever ways that works for you. You have people here for you. So please tap into that free resource that you have here at the 2 O'Clock Center, and don't assume that you can do it on your own, because it is a lot for one person to carry that workload on their own. The second mistake that entrepreneurs do is having no plan. I think that's a life mistake that everyone can do. You always need a plan. For me, I am a very strategic planner, and I feel that having no plan is just not something that I can support. And as an entrepreneur, you need to know what next. you need to plan for what next so you can execute that. Having a plan as an entrepreneur, I encourage people to always sit down, write a business plan, or at least have a lean canvas, at least have a big picture of what the business will look like, what you need, who will be your customer, how much would you be pricing yourself. These are the questions that you have to start thinking about and putting into a plan before jumping right into executing and creating a website and already occurring expenses with no plan. And we've talked about this. We want to make sure that your business is profitable, wasting your time and effort into an activity that will not be a lucrative activity. So then to have a plan. If you have no plan, it's one of the biggest mistakes that entrepreneurs do. Having no clear idea of how you are going to make money. And that's almost tapping into that second point of having a plan. How would you be making money? How much would you be pricing your product or your service? Entrepreneurship is a business activity. So you have to think about ways to make profit out of that activity. Even if you are a social entrepreneur and you really want to do good by people, by the community with the product, you are incurring cost and expenses that needs to be paid. So it's very important to think about a model for your business, how you're going to be pricing yourself. The third point is also a great point. Sometimes people have an idea and they think people will want it, and people don't want it, or people are not quite sure about the idea. Customers are hesitant to buy your product or access your service because you probably haven't taken the time to ask people if they will be interested in that type of product or service. So another mistake that entrepreneurs do is to create a product, have an app ready, have everything ready with no demand, no people interested to buy that product or register on that app. So it's very, very important to consider the customer discovery portion of your plan, and confirm that there is a demand before even continue on with your business idea. So, and again, it leads us to the other point here is how to prepare for success. Now that we know that success is still possible, but there's a lot of mistakes that can happen in between, how can you set up yourself to be your own boss, to become an entrepreneur? I'm gonna say the first point is to challenge your concept and your plan. And right off the back, every time I meet with someone, I'll always say, have you even Googled it? Google is your best friend just to find out about similar ideas, industry research. And there's a great resource here at the library. We also have a section on our website, where you can go in there and start and really learn about the industry, the business industry you are trying to penetrate your service. So make sure you get informed. Make sure there is a possibility of that idea to even be brought into market. Sometimes you can have an idea and there is a regulation that's is gonna go against that product. So right from the beginning that it's not gonna be a viable business here, maybe in Canada, because there's some regulations around it and you can't even pursue. So it's very, very important to do your research, to take time to learn about other similar type of product. If it's not a breakthrough, if it's not an innovative product, there's probably an existing model that you can go and learn and really try to figure out how you can better the system or the product that's already existing. The second point is to take action to limit the risk. Entrepreneurship used the risk, but now people are understanding that it is hard, and it is risky, so we don't have to go all in like we've talked about earlier. Take the time to evaluate how much you will need for your business, your startup costs, initial startup costs. Do you need any money to build a prototype? Let's say if you need different pieces together, how much one product will cost you, and really try to think about that way, because you don't want to start occurring expenses when you even know how you are going to be pricing yourself, or you don't even know if the market will receive that. So it's very important to think about the financial aspect of things. I think when we enter into a business activity, it's to make money. It's to be able to, yes, you have the fulfilling section of entrepreneurship, but you also have the financial entrepreneurship. That is very, very important to uh, understand and to value as an entrepreneur. How am I making money? How can I sustain the business? How much do I need? And the third point, don't let perfection be the enemy of good. Now, if you're a perfectionist, this will be hard, because most perfectionists have a hard time even launching a product. There's so much uncertainty about, are people going to like it? Am I ready? Do I need to wait? Oh, maybe I don't have enough data. Maybe I need to go back and work on my platform. Maybe, and these questions are rising up out of perfectionism. So if you are someone that's prone to perfectionism, this is a very good advice to really do your due diligence, have a plan, an action plan, but at a certain point, you have to dive into the risk. You have to be an entrepreneur. French people will say you have to entreprendre. You have to undertake the project and jump. So this is another way for you to prepare for success. You have to do it. There's no other way. The fourth point is just don't cut back on the wrong costs. It's very important to budget wisely before you commence a business activity, how much you will need for your market budget. If you need any paid ad, how much you will allocate. If you need to take a loan, you have to take out the portion of reimbursement. So there's a little bit of financial, again, we're going back to the financials. I know it's my comfort zone because of my background, but it is very important to set yourself up for success and to budget accordingly. And this information are basics information. You go online, you do some research, look at similar product, and you can get a sense of the pricing here, and you can either price up or price low. Now you can dive into having a marketing strategy, but usually budgeting is easier than what people think, because there's a lot of information already available. If you know how much your product will cost you, you will mostly know that you will have to sell more than what it costs you. You know that, okay, you have to pay for marketing. You probably have to pay to host a website. And those are the expenses that you really want to start budgeting accordingly, and make sure that at the end of the day, you are running a profitable business and not just running a business for being called an entrepreneur. So we are ending the webinar. If you have any questions, please use Q&A, but these are the takeaways that I would like to share with you. We don't believe in being a born entrepreneur. Yes, some people have the advantage of growing up with entrepreneurial parents or really growing up in an entrepreneurial environment, but some people just decided to look at their options, their career options, and choose entrepreneurship as a career. So as long as you think about a way to be innovative, creative, and profitable, entrepreneurship is open to all of us. Great entrepreneurs prepare themselves. We talked about having a plan, making sure that you budget accordingly, making sure you know what your next step will be, and not doing it alone. If you have any questions, I would love with you, and encourage you to really build that mindset, resilient mindset. We're gonna have specific webinars on thinking like an entrepreneur next on Wednesday 28th. I'm encouraging you to register for that one. And we've seen the pros and the cons of entrepreneurship. It's not always the glam, but it is a very rewarding career choice. Knowing that you are able to fulfill your passion and have a greater impact in your community, in your environment, is enough to be called success. So even if there's some cons to that, there's always the pros that can be an encouragement to you if entrepreneurship is something that you may consider. Success is achievable. We've seen startups starting from zero, now growing, scaling up to becoming businesses. So it is possible. We've seen local businesses in Winnipeg growing up to a unicorn level, so making over 1 billion in sales. So success is possible for you, and do not compare. Take your journey one step at a time. Ask any questions to any of the members here at the 2 O'Clock Center. And again, those are the great points, and I hope that you were able to learn with us today. I am reminding you, I'm here. I'm a free resource for you. If you have any questions, feel free to book a meeting, and we can chat about your next step as an entrepreneur. Don't forget to subscribe to our webinars. It's online, it's live. You can go and RSVP, and I would love to see you for the next one. Perfect. So this is the end. Again, if you have any question, if you haven't typed your questions yet, moment to do so. And I'll be able to read the questions and answer them.